Yeah. Peace, bless, love. Give thanks to that man above. You now rocking with Mr. Uncommon.
What's up, y'all? What's going on? It's the Fresh Prince himself. Is he Finesse?
Yeah. You already know, the one and only, Jay Confident. Remember, y'all, understand mental health means recognizing that it's just as crucial as physical health. And acknowledging that everyone's experience with it is unique. Let's go! With my audience. Let's go.
Yo, our Off Xperience family, thank you once again for tuning in to another episode of our podcast. And also, if you didn't know, it is Mental Health Awareness Month. So
It sure is.
I hope y'all doing good out there. I hope life keeps blessing y'all out there. You know, be safe. And also, just please show y'all love by liking, sharing, and subscribing. And also follow us on Instagram at Off Xperience Pod.
Yo, I got lost because I was supposed to say also follow us on TikTok. Shout out to the audio because my man right here did some shit. But anyways, yo, shout out to the audio support, man. Yo, we appreciate y'all, man. People all over the world. I'm gonna put this out there now since it's Mental Awareness Month. I would have never thought that my voice would be heard all over the world and people will appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? That's fire, bro. That is fire, bro. And you got to appreciate those little small things in life because at the end of the day, when you look back, that's what's the most grateful for.
Yeah.
And that's how we make the change right there.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, damn, I like that, man. I like that. And this is why this platform is what it is. So you already know, man. As you know, we Off Experience. We explore life experiences and celebrate triumphs, right? So, look, this episode here is being that it's mental health month, right? Awareness is only right that us Off Experience, bring awareness to it, right? So we have a returning guest here, right? Which there was a lot left on the table, right? So this is why, you know what I mean? We're gonna talk about a lot, man. But true indeed, listen, man, to bring awareness, man, she specializes in OCD, right? We spoke about that before, the anxiety, life transitions, right? Relationship issues, trauma-informed care, right? People pleasing, right? And being the world we live in now, with this whole, people getting caught up with social media, X, Y, and Z, right? It's a lot of pressure going on. People being depressed. People want to be more like the other person. You know what I mean? It's just too much right now because you've seen so much, right? People doing well and you're not doing good. It's catching on to you, right? You don't have no friends. You feel because you don't get no likes. You know what I'm saying? That is affecting you. You know what I'm saying? You don't have no friends now. People don't love you. People, you know what I'm saying? All these type of stuff, man, right? So it is our pleasure today to bring to you therapist Brianna Calderon.
Thanks, guys. I'm really happy to be back.
Back at it
Welcome
again.
back. Yeah, welcome back. I mean, even though last episode we had you here, we were talking about the OCD issues and amongst other things as well. But this time we wanted to talk about other things as well, what you really specialize in. This time we wanted to talk about you, what you do, how you took care of it, how you handle it, and how you go about your day dealing with what you do. Because therapist is a lot. That's a big cup to fill.
You taking other people's top problems on top of your shoulders as well, right? So
for my Spanish people, she's literally la panuela de lágrima. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, all right.
You gotta translate that for me.
That's the how you say it, the rag of tears. You know what I'm saying? She's literally a rag of tears. And whenever you need somebody to cry on, I'm calling Brianna.
Don't call me. Don't call me.
We'll put the information downtown on the
It just can't be after
description.
hours though.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Not after hours.
I was about to say that, only during work hours.
Facts.
For real. And it's funny because even the other day too, I was watching the movie Split. When
Oh,
I mentioned
man.
it, because I know y'all seen it on Netflix. I know y'all seen it. They have part 1 and part 2. I was watching it and I was just like, yo, I remember we had this conversation about that.
Yeah, you see?
Yeah, you gotta look at it with a different set of eyes.
Yeah, I do. I
After a
did.
while.
I was like,
After you learn some shit,
Yeah.
you gotta look at it a different
For real.
way.
So I actually want to turn the tables and talk to y'all instead of talk about me, because I feel like we got a good understanding. If you listen to the episode before, we got a good understanding. I work with OCD, anxiety, life transitions, trauma-informed care, relationship issues, shit that isn't in the DSM, isn't diagnosed, just like everyday shit, you know?
Yeah.
How was your day? How was y'all's day? Let's start with, what was your successes for the week?
For the
It's Friday.
week?
Yeah, let's
Oh,
reflect
shit.
a little bit.
Okay.
What was
You
the
can start
success of
first.
the week?
My successes since it's Friday,
I like
my
that.
successes
I like
for the
that.
week. Yo, you know, that's
I like that.
okay. All right. Damn, bro, you got me. Damn. All right. Well, to the people who are close to me, if you know what you know, I actually lost someone very close to me.
Yeah.
So this week, as far as my success, I'm accepting grieving. You know, I got comfortable being on camera again because I do my pickup thoughts, and I actually did it consecutively for 3 days
Yes.
back to back to back.
I noticed that. I viewed
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I viewed that.
And I've
Drop the ball for that.
and I'm not gonna lie to you, the way I've been doing them, I feel more open, and my like I have a lot to say now. And I think this week actually showed that, and I got way more, y'all. Stay tuned, y'all. Pickup thoughts, my pickup thoughts. you know,
We back.
we back, baby.
We back. Let's go. Let's go. Listen, man. Like we say, man. Life experiences, man. At some point, you're gonna celebrate that. You're gonna celebrate that triumph, man. Like,
Mhm. That's my success for the week.
I'm saying?
I like,
I like
it.
that.
I'm
I like
comfortable.
that.
I'm comfortable.
Proud of you.
That's cool.
Proud of
Good
you.
shit.
Yeah. Word,
Yeah.
word.
What about you?
Bueno. Shit. I woke up every day. God bless. That's first and
Thankful,
foremost.
gratitude.
Gratitude for
Yes.
sure. You know what I mean? Family is good. Celebrated my wife's birthday.
Ooh, yes.
know?
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday. Yeah, drop some bombs for that one.
Applause for that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Shout out to all the tourists out there too.
Yeah,
My birthday just passed,
yeah. You know what I mean?
yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, not really, you know, and right here, this episode, this podcast, building this
okay.
podcast, right? Like,
Love that.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah.
No, yeah, I could say I could bounce off that too and say the same thing because that was one of my successes. Like I was kind of like I wouldn't say distracted, but I kind of just want to have like a little more fun on my birthday and not like stray away from the podcast. So then after my birthday, I kind of feel like I got more focused. Like all right, like it's a new chapter, it's a new year, it's a new age. So now I was just working on YouTube, getting the YouTube right. So it's going to be way better now. Everything is going to be way better for marketing. And that was really one of my successes this week.
Yeah.
And
I like
for
that.
waking up too every day and being blessed to even have a mind to even think and put all my work into this and just life too, like my 9 to 5.
Yeah, and to be honest with
Love
you,
that.
and to be honest with you, since you asked that question, and me here and my brothers actually stating their answers, I appreciate what they accomplished and what their successes were this week, and it makes me feel whole that they,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So now since they did that, now I feel much better.
All right,
like,
hold on, real quick, real
love.
quick.
That's love.
In the count of 3, can I get a 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, but that was a good one though. That was like that. Like that.
You know what though? I feel like we should definitely feel like that for other people, right? Like, cause that's what brings joy to just the energy around, just the aura, right? The aura is different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just you want to be around those people that feel that type of way for you,
Yeah.
right? I know less than that, if anything.
Yeah.
what I mean? So-
Celebrating each other's successes. Even if you haven't met your own yet.
Yeah,
You'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
You could be sad for yourself and also happy for other people. You could be both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
But like even for me though, like just seeing like other people's successes make me happy. It kind of motivates me.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow, he's really doing it. Wow, shit, I could do it too.
Yeah, yeah. Finding motivation in that. I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, that's true. What was your success this week?
My success, I got back into a groove of working out because I didn't feel so great last 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I'm grateful for my body being able to bounce back when I don't feel good. And yeah, I went to the gym yesterday and I'm sore as shit today.
So
And I
you did-
actually utilized my time well because I had 2 sessions and then I had like a 2-hour gap. So instead of like lounging around and not doing anything and throwing on a show that I would have, throwing on like Curb Your Enthusiasm and just like vegging out in between sessions, I actually went to the gym.
Nice.
That's I could I have the similarity with that too because even yesterday too, me and him was working out yesterday for like
Word.
after a long time because we kind of took a break, but we started working out yesterday. and it felt good because you got to let off like those endorphins, right? Is what you call
Endorphins,
it? Endorphins. So it definitely like I feel like I'm so into my body that I could really tell like, all right, yeah, I definitely needed that right there, and it definitely let off a lot. But for you, right? Like, so do you separate running from working out, or?
I incorporate like for me, like the sweet spot is working out 4 days a week. Okay. So like 2 days running, 2 days working out, like weightlifting. Okay. So that's kind of like when I'm not running a marathon. The one time that I did run a marathon, when I was running a marathon, I was doing 3 times a week running, and then probably going to the gym like once because I was like kind of exhausted. Yeah. So I was like, but now I'm trying to go like my goal is to be going every week, twice running, twice to the gym. Yeah. This week I only went once running, once the gym, but tomorrow I'm committed to running.
Nice.
Now, yeah, running is hard too, and especially like in the weather conditions that you be running in, it's kind of tough because I can't imagine myself running and it's like 20 degrees outside.
I tell you, I like running in 20 degrees, more in 20 degrees than like 80 degrees. Yeah, I'd be dying. Nah, it's too. I run on hot. I'm like trying to rip everything off. I'm like, take me out of my skin. Like I don't like running in hot weather.
And I seen too that you just came back from Vegas too, which I don't know how you did it because Vegas. I made it. 100 degrees on a nice.
It wasn't bad though. It wasn't bad because it was February. So over there it was like 65 when we ran, and it was at night.
And nighttime is cool over there.
Yeah, it was nice and cool. Yeah, it was already like sunset, dusk. So
I remember I went in November and it was like. The nighttime was breezy. It was cool, bro. Like you had to wear like a little sweater and all that shit. It was pretty nice. That's that nice. But the daytime,
never been. But hopefully soon.
We should find out. Soon. So Brianna, like I got a question.
Wait. So challenges. We didn't do challenges.
Oh, challenge. What challenges for the week?
Yeah. What was your challenge for the week?
Oh, okay.
Oh, my challenge was to be more consistent with my craft. Yeah, because now I actually can tell people. I'm a podcaster / content creator. I think I'm a little more comfortable with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I like saying that. It sounds cool. I sound like the man. Like I feel like if you look me up,
you there?
I'm there.
You there?
So that's all my challenge that I got through.
Yeah,
and it worked. It worked.
I ain't gonna lie, like challenges, I think it's just like everyday thing, man. Like I think I try to find new ways, especially with this right here, this podcast right here. Like I just try to find new ways to like say like marketing and all that shit. Like how to post a story or post a post, like or just try to figure out like, okay, how can we boost up the podcast? Like how can we do? I ain't gonna lie, like that shit really like besides work, it takes up a lot of time. It just keeps going. Like work, my mind just keeps running. I'm like, all right, so we always on the text pretty much.
Yeah.
Just so, how will we do this? We could do this way.
Before you forget.
Before I forget. Right. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie. That's another thing I got. Like I'll say things and I'll be like, remind me later. And all that shit. We all forget it, and I forget about it. Then we forget about an idea. So listen, if y'all listening, write it down, text it to yourself. That's what I do now. I got a habit now. I text it to myself. I just write it down, just text it to myself, and I say I'm good money with it, right? So yeah, that's like most of the challenge every day. I try to challenge myself every day with those type of things. How to grow this platform, pretty much.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm not gonna lie. Another thing too, like this is like a continuous thing every day. Try to better myself, be a better person, because like, it's a work in progress. It's hard. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like
I tried that, but then I realized I'm him.
Nah, well, I get it. Everybody should feel that way, right? Yeah. But I just mean towards more like family wise, kids wise, and all that shit. Like just more like that in tune, more understanding, more because we all ain't perfect, man.
Facts.
Nobody's perfect.
It's hard. Pause. It's crazy. I know. It's crazy.
You should have heard us offline. We've come to the conclusion that you, and I think this goes back to anxiety, like you fulfill your own prophecy when you try to really avoid something.
That's wild. You're right.
Like you try to avoid saying things that sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What was the challenge, Bob?
I don't know. I feel like today was like a good week for me. I feel like a challenge I would say would probably be like time management, or like probably like procrastinating basically.
Yeah.
Cause I catch myself a lot of times like I know I should be doing this, but I do the whole opposite, and that kind of takes me away from what I gotta be doing. So that right there is definitely a challenge I go through sometimes during the week. But I get as time goes on though, I always progress from it. So that was one of them.
Yeah, I feel that. I always struggle with procrastination.
Yeah.
Sometimes a lot of the time motivation I struggle with to like do other stuff because I'd be exhausted, mentally exhausted.
I could imagine.
Yeah, and that right there too, that's endurance too that we need to like keep ourselves going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially all that.
So that definitely leads to this question I want to ask you, right? Especially just that, like how do you help clients navigate through life transition, especially when they are causing anxiety and stress or stress?
I try to remind people to be realistic about what they're feeling. First, be honest about what you're feeling. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling burnt out, whatever it is, be honest about what you're feeling. And also have realistic expectations. Like, don't think that you're just going to get rid of the feeling because that's going around an issue instead of through the issue and actually like resolving it for yourself, feeling it, processing it. Yeah, because like we can face things and we'll feel anxiety and people don't want to feel anxiety, and that's absolutely fair. And it's not a great feeling, but you're probably going to feel anxiety if you're facing something hard or you're facing something new or you're facing something exciting that is eliciting like exciting anxiety, kind of like, performance anxiety. But really trying to not avoid those feelings, being honest about them, not trying to avoid them, and
fight through them.
Yeah, pushing through them.
Pushing
Doing
through.
it scared. Like, you don't have to wait until you're not scared or not anxious or not nervous. You could still do it, all those things, and just allow it to
while you're
be.
scared.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Doing it scared. That's cool.
Because that was one of my questions. Because I'm not gonna lie, man. As confident as people may feel like I am, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things that you get anxiety about. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just even recently. I think I was talking to you on the phone. I was telling you like, yo, like I got anxiety. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because I forgot what it was, but I got anxiety. Like, yo, like it has to do with the podcast for sure, right? Maybe something like, yo, this is not working. Like, what the fuck is like? So excuse me, I don't want. That's another thing too, man. I want to chill on the cursing and all that, right? So
Don't worry, we gotta start bleeping it
I
out.
encourage it.
no, for
I
real.
encourage it.
In my house we doing this now. Like, we have the jar now.
Oh,
Like,
so
Okay.
So we swear. So it's like my wife, we on the phone, and I'm like, oh, I start cursing. Like, oh, look, you already cursing. I'm like, but we're not even in the house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not mobile. We're not taking it with us, right? Like, but I should, because I gotta chill out on that too. Like, it sounds good cleaner, man.
Everybody
1%.
curses though. Everybody
Yeah,
curses.
but excessively
It's
though.
just- No, yeah, excessively
Excessively
is
is
bad.
crazy,
Yeah,
like-
that's like when every sentence has a curse in it.
There you go. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And trust me, I'm with that. I'm in that problem, right? But what I'm saying is like, I get anxiety, man, and like you said, you gotta attack it, right? And then I think I told him, I was like, you know what? Cool. I start breathing, like, cause my heart starts racing. Like, you say, when you get anxiety, man, your heart starts racing, all that thing. Like this night, you start thinking about like, whoa, what if this doesn't work? What if this not happening? What is, you know what I'm saying? And you start overthinking about things, right? So it's like, I get those, but I do fight through it. I'm like, you know what? No, let's keep going. Let's keep moving. Like, this is not. Let me learn from this. Whatever it is let me learn from it. Boom. Let me keep moving, right? So just want to let y'all know, man. Like, I definitely agree with that one, man. I just keep fighting, keep going. You know what I mean? It's just
that's true, because it's
not easy,
not
but
easy.
you got to really be true to yourself.
Yeah.
At that is definitely
and
true.
even as a therapist, right? How do you prioritize self-care and maintain your own well-being while supporting others through their struggles?
Oh, therapists are the worst at it because like
Okay.
we're the fucking worst at it. Like, we are a field of being highly, like, we have a high rate of burnout all the time because depending on where you work, how you work, what the expectations are, what the actual work is you're doing, what population you're working with, therapists just have the tendency to kind of make themselves really accessible, even when it takes away from their own time. And that's a lesson I learned the hard way, a lesson I learned not to do. I'm not doing that now, thankfully, but I think that getting burnt out and getting tired is kind of part of the job at this point.
Okay.
And I don't think it's really avoidable. I think that there are definitely like systemic things that employers could do to decrease burnout, to reduce turnover, so to keep therapists from like essentially like retaining therapists for a while at one place rather than therapists like searching for a new job like every year or so. But I think the field is just like a high rate of burnout overall. Yeah. So there are definitely systemic things that we can do to change that and to make it easier. But when you have to hold space for people all the time, and some of the stuff is light, some of the stuff is not so light, some of the stuff is really heavy, really dark, it's really exhausting.
Because I was gonna ask you too, even, and it's crazy how you mentioned the burnout. Because I was gonna ask you, how do you handle moments of self-doubt and in the moments of burnout?
I don't know if I handle it well. I think I have to be honest, and sometimes I go into survival mode and I just kind of like push it down, and I'm like, I have to make it till Friday. I have to make it till Friday. I have to not do shit after work. So if that means like not answering phone calls, not responding to people, not responding to the group chat, kind of just being on my phone. Sometimes that means that like me and my mans don't like, we're in the same room, but we're not talking. And I think I'm really lucky that he's like very understanding that like there are some times where I've heard so much today where I just want you to be there and we can be in each other's company. And you could be playing your video games and I support you playing your video games. I'm not going to bitch about you playing your video games. You do your thing. And I'm going to watch
just be there.
Vanderpump Rules. I'm going to watch reality TV, or I'm going to like binge something, or I'm going to throw on Seinfeld or Curb Your Enthusiasm, whatever it is that is like our show.
Right.
And yeah, that's how I try to maintain it now. I think one thing I put into place is not working 5 days a week, so keeping it at the 4 days a week, and having my 3-day week and having my Mondays off. Those are usually my run days. Those are me and Brian's days off together, so it's a good day to spend together.
Nice.
So there are small changes that not small, I would say pretty significant changes that I've made. I mean, I changed my job. I went to a place that wasn't serving me, somewhere that is like much more supportive of self-care, I would say, and supportive overall as a therapist. So definitely made small but significant changes to reduce burnout. But I think that burnout just still kind of comes with talking to 20 to 25 people a week about their problems.
That's cool, because the way you just put it, that you made feminism and masculinity equal, because the way you just explained that, you said that I want to be alone but not left alone. That actually is a masculinity thought, because us men,
wow, that's crazy.
Us men don't want to be alone, but we you know what I meant, right? You know what I'm saying? Because like, I want to be alone, but I don't want to be alone. You know what I'm saying?
You just don't want to
quiet, but like together.
Yeah. So saying from a woman's perspective, and you put it that way, you made literally feminism and masculinity equal parts on that when it comes down to burnouts and any type of aspects of life. You know, depending on, you're a nurse, you're a therapist, you're an accountant, you're a registrar, you whoever, even dealing in a sneaker store, dealing with customer service alone.
Yep.
Different personalities, because I love the way you just broke that down. So just that right there alone. So I would like to ask you, so isolation, is that like a main thing to use in a relationship for a good purpose?
I mean, I think like anything, we have to start looking at things as they always have two sides to them. So nothing is like inherently good or inherently bad. People are usually not inherently good or inherently bad. As we were talking about before, good people do strange things, bad people do good things, or do things that come to good consequences. So I think that isolation can be a coping skill that becomes a problem. It could be a symptom of something. Okay. It could be a way that people self-care. I think that depending on the function of it, or depending on the circumstance, it could be a lot of different things. I think too much of anything is probably not a good thing. So like too much isolation might indicate that you are depressed, or you're distancing yourself for a reason, or maybe not even depressed. Maybe you're having like a lot of turmoil with your interpersonal relationship in your life, so you've decided to isolate and it's causing some depression. And then sometimes, like for me, isolation can be therapeutic. I do like my alone time. Especially being a therapist, like, I don't want to talk to a lot of people. I can definitely see that. After. I can definitely see that. I feel like, sorry to the people whose phone calls, like, Titi, I'm sorry. I love you so much, but I need you to call me on Saturdays, Sundays, or Mondays because
I can see
Tuesdays
that
through Fridays, I am done.
Yeah, I could definitely see that because that's a lot on your shoulders.
Yeah.
Like, listen to a lot, and it's like lifting different topics.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? All these topics that I mentioned earlier, like, it's like, if you break all that down, wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many people, you see, it broke down. How many people actually, is all problems you listening to, you trying to deal with, trying to give advice, whatever you run around it, right? Like, it's a lot.
It is a lot.
It drains your brain.
It does. I mean, I could imagine because, like, dealing with, like, as a therapist, you have these tools, right? Like, you have to create for certain clients, right? So, like, what specific tools or techniques do you find particularly effective in helping the clients in navigating their challenges?
Yeah, I think specifically with anxiety, kind of, and this is like the bare minimum of it, but teaching yourself to accept that you don't need to eradicate your feelings, number one. So you don't need to, the goal should not be to eliminate your anxiety. It should be to push through the thing that is making you anxious, if you are doing it safely and appropriately. And to kind of, whatever the response is, if the response is excessive and disproportionate. So by excessive and disproportionate, I mean, like, if you have social anxiety and you always say no to plans because of all the anxieties that are out there presenting themselves to you, I would encourage someone to accept that they're going to have anxiety going through it. They're actually going to have a lot of anxiety the first time that they do it because you've already built up a wall between you and the activity because it was scary within good reason. So now you have to start to chip away at that wall little by little by challenging yourself, putting yourself in social situations, allowing yourself to be uncomfortable. So I think that those things specifically have been really effective because people experience that on small scales every single day. And I always kind of look at any win as a win, so the small wins are very significant.
Yeah, those are the ones that matter the most too. And then, like how you were saying too, like you gotta pick at the anxiety and push through it. Because I remember reading what was it? It was 50 Laws of Power, right, with 50 Cent and Robert Greene, and he said that like after he had got shot 9 times, that he would stay in his grandma's house, but every time he looked out the window, it looked like somebody was watching him. So he was like that he had to get over that, and basically all the obstacles that he had to get over. And look where he's at now. He's doing good.
He's doing great. He's one of the richest mofos in the world right now.
All right.
Seriously.
Yeah,
man.
I think if you stay in that fear, then you will never
you gotta
move forward.
You definitely gotta push through it. But you had stated too that you do running, after work hours. And I also seen that you like to like plant things or like plants basically.
Yeah.
So like, do you believe in horticultural horticultural therapy?
Yeah, I mean, I think, absolutely. I think anything is therapeutic. I think that we tend to get kind of rigid in our thinking. So when it comes to therapists, we talk about like evidence-based practices all the time. So like what we talked about last time with like OCD, you can do different types of treatments for OCD, different types of treatments for specific concerns. But there's a lot of value in just like doing regular shit that brings you joy, that is therapeutic, that people, I think we tend to take for granted or gloss over, or we do it without thinking and really like pausing and saying like, wow, Mother Nature kind of gave me this and I'm using it. And this is therapeutic, especially being, I'm trying to like be a little bit more educated on like indigenous practices, like, cause like we're fucking indigenous. Like those are our ancestors. Especially us. Like those are our ancestors. So I want to get back to like honoring not just not specifically being religious, but being spiritual. And I know that sounds fucking corny because every bitch is like,
Everybody's
I'm spiritual.
spiritual.
Like everyone's
Yeah, but
spiritual.
that's peace.
They
though.
believe in
That's
these
peace,
horoscopes.
though.
Yeah, and it's like
horoscopes.
there's definitely a lot to be said about like how people can co-opt that movement and like make it for profit when it really is something that like our ancestors did to survive and honor the land. So when I think about planting, I kind of look at it at the lens of like, I get to plant something and grow something.
Okay.
And I'm not doing, I'm just the hand that's doing it. I'm not the
maker.
resource that's doing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah,
the
yeah.
maker. I'm like, I'm just facilitating something.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like I facilitating in therapy. Like I'm not really doing the work. I'm just facilitating work. But it is therapeutic for me to like watch my peppers grow, watch tomatoes grow. I don't eat tomatoes, but like, you know.
No, that's pretty
Yeah.
dope. That's pretty cool. I never even heard that fucking word before. Horticulture therapy. That's
Me neither. That's a new one to me. I'm not gonna lie.
It's basically for
Yeah,
plants. Like, you
plants,
like,
yeah.
that's pretty dope.
for your well-being.
Because I remember me, right? Me working at the hospital. I was a security officer. I used to be on the psych floors, right? And whenever they used to do OT shop, they used to have the coloring books out. And I used to ask, why they even trust these people with crayons and
Yeah.
stuff? That's a little dangerous. Like, nah, we give them the colors. They get vibrate like with the colors. They take it. They know what to do with it. So I'm like, all right, let me sit down with the patients. So I sat down and started coloring, bro. I got 5 coloring books in my house right now, bro.
Yeah.
You started that, yeah.
That ass. I got
you know what?
5
That
coloring
is
books in my
therapeutic
house.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got 5 coloring books and like 3 cases of coloring pencils and crayons. That's
Yeah.
me. It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
And every time I get a little stressed, I say, you know what? Fuck it. Let me go color some. I guarantee I have my 8-year-old color with me, my 20-year-old color with me in her room, and my wife colors with me right side by side, and we just stay quiet, have background noise, and we chill. It's
Even
all
like
about
the last
therapy.
guest you guys had, the poet.
Right.
Yeah.
That's therapeutic.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
art is therapeutic. All of we can't kind of knock, like, yes, I do believe in science and evidence-based practices, but I also believe in the value of just doing things that really you enjoy, and that being, you kind of like being really present and intentional about showing gratitude and showing gratitude for being able to do it, and just, you know, being in the moment and having the opportunity to
Yes.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
medicine, y'all.
So,
Medicine.
and even talking about the medicine, right? Like this is another thing, right? Like, what are some examples, right? You can integrate on mindful relaxation techniques for like anxiety.
I will be honest, I am not a lover of mindfulness for anxiety. I think like there are definitely, so like you were talking about before with feeling those kind of like body symptoms that it's like almost an anxiety attack,
Yeah.
kind of like that. So one thing that every therapist knows is like the 5, like the countdown, like 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can smell, 2 things you can taste, feel, taste, the countdown. That's supposed to really keep you present and reduce the intensity of like anxiety attack, panic attack symptoms. So that's one like intervention you can do. But I think for me and my practice, I really try to hone in on the best way to challenge anxiety, the best way to decrease your anxiety over time is to challenge it.
Just identify it and
Identify
Talk
it.
about it.
Identify what your triggers are, what you seem to avoid, what you feel when you encounter your triggers, and learning to little by little take baby steps toward it without avoiding it, and powering through the discomfort of what it feels like to encounter a trigger.
Yeah. No,
Not
yeah.
like a big mindfulness person.
Yeah.
Like that's not a big part of my practice.
But isn't that like being mindful though? Like, have you ever do the countdown?
It is being it is absolutely being mindful. So that is an example of kind of like mindfulness and panic attacks and anxiety attacks, because the goal is to bring you back into your body and keep you present rather than focusing on the panic symptoms and those like intensifying symptoms.
Yeah. Because it's, you know,
And like you said, blow out, what was it? Smell the flowers, blow out the
blow out the
candles.
candles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Ooh,
breathing
screw it
techniques,
back.
stuff like that.
Yeah, but I love how everything you're saying right now is like just leading back to like how you ended the last episode when you was also like that you want to shout out the decolonizing therapy, and like how you just said too with the how we all indigenous people, and there's people still living like that to like even nowadays too, like they got tribes still indigenous, or like even like little areas in like Arizona, they got little
Yeah.
little houses, and they indigenous people too. And that just goes back to like, you know, Native Americans and, you know, the white people coming over for like, for instance, like Thanksgiving. That was the real story behind it. You know, the Native Americans was there first.
The lies.
And then the white people
The
came
lies
and they
we
took
were
over.
told.
I know.
Exactly. So that's what, like, if you go out and ask these indigenous people, that's what they will tell you. Like, yo, they basically came to our land and just took it over.
I mean, they did it in the Addams Family.
Yeah.
Christina Ricci was
Oh
like,
shit, that's true. Yo, family values. Yo, that's so true.
so, you know, mom and dad, all the moms and dad out there, TV is educational.
Yeah.
It absolutely is, because they wasn't
Yeah.
teaching that in school. I didn't learn that in school.
Well, before. Let's talk about
Before,
before.
yeah.
Yeah. Because now is, and this goes a lot to like how people, like their mindset is now. You know what I'm saying? All these things going on, all these things they see, all these things they watch, like they're listening to, they hear. You know what I'm saying? Like it's all. It's just an overload on your brain, and then you start thinking like, yo, this is too much pressure.
OD.
Like when we was growing up, honestly, we didn't have all that pressure that kids got now. And I'm gonna be honest, because we didn't have technology like that. Yeah, we grew into it, but we didn't have technology like that. We was always outside. What we were doing was being creative. We was playing games, figuring games out, playing Scalzi, playing stickball, playing swoofle ball, playing manhunt. You know, all that extra. We was just doing those type of things. We didn't have to worry about nothing else.
Yep.
TV, yeah, we're cool. TV, game systems, cool. Now you got all these social media platforms. You start seeing everything all around the world, glamorous, this, that, and the third. You living in the hub, and now you thinking like, damn, my life is all fucked up. It's all messed up. Like, you know, these people. You know what I'm saying?
There's
Like,
people all over around the world that's living way worse than what we are. To be honest,
way worse.
way worse. Yeah. So
You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's one thing to be mindful of too. At that, like, yo, not everything is glitz and glamours and all that lifestyle thing. Yeah, everybody would would love to obtain it.
No, you're right.
Sure.
Yeah, because even Cat Williams said it on his stand-up. He said it. He said, we all go to these countries to go enjoy our vacation, but when we come back home, we be like, yes, I'm back home.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Back in America. I'm back in America. Thank God. You know what I'm saying? And he's right.
Piece
Fucking
of
shit.
shit.
And it's true. It is true, because the shit that we see outside of this country is way worse than what we go through.
Yeah.
And that right there, right, which leads me to ask, like, with therapists, right, how do you create a safe and supportive environment for people who need to explore and heal from their past traumas or their traumas recently?
For in session, I would say keeping it real from the beginning, like not putting pressure on them to open up immediately, and letting them know, like, if there's, I'm going to ask you these questions, and if you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to answer it. If you feel comfortable later on, you can circle back and bring it up however you want to answer it. But if there's, I'm going to ask them because I kind of have to, and this is going to help build a picture, what you feel you're not ready to talk about, we don't have to. So just letting them know, like, no pressure. First of all, we don't have to talk about anything that is like very deep on the first session. I think that there is always a pressure for that, because if you're going through your insurances are usually going to want a diagnosis on the first session. And like, you don't really get to know someone in the first session.
Yeah.
Because
You're
I'm not
scratching
gonna
the
lie.
surface. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. When I went to therapy, I thought to myself, what the fuck this bitch is gonna tell me?
What diagnosis will I walk out with?
What the hell is she gonna tell me? I ain't gonna tell nothing to this girl. And she told me straight up, she's like, you ain't gotta tell me nothing today, but let's start by doing this. What's your name?
But see, but that's the thing though, right? Like, and I think everybody should be mindful of this too. If you are seeking therapy, I think the key things when you seek therapy is that you know yourself. You're gonna be open to or be truthful to what you're going there for. Because
Bro,
if you go there with that mind, talk about, yo, what they gonna tell me? Like, I ain't gonna tell them that. How does therapy doesn't work?
Nah.
If that happens, that approach happens, it's not gonna work. Yeah. So just forget about it. You're gonna waste your money, insurance, whatever the case is.
After the second week, son, the therapist had a box of tissue on the table for me, bro.
Yeah, you was letting out.
Hell yeah, son. She's like, you good today? Like, I don't know. But we gonna figure it out together.
Yeah. And it's okay. Sometimes you gotta let it out.
Yeah,
you gotta let it out.
Yeah.
That's the only way, man.
Pressure bust pipes, y'all.
Even if you gotta cry. Listen, I'm keeping it a buck right now. Sometimes if I'm listening to some type of music, the write music, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah,
me too.
I'm a crier.
Gonna cry.
I'm a crier
too.
I cry for like the littlest commercials.
Movies.
Movies.
When it's like, come on, man.
Bro, I
I
see.
cry for anything.
I'm gonna cry.
I
My
see-
eyes would get like my eyes would get. My wife, she cries. Like she really cries. Like she get teared out, and I'm like this. I'm like, my eyes are watering, but you know how you like,
Yeah. Nah.
and you feel it. I'm like,
Oh, you blink? I go
you
like
blink.
I go like this. I start looking up so the tears don't fall, so that shit's gonna go back into my body, bro.
I'm serious. But I don't care. Listen, it is what it is. I'm that emotional.
Yeah.
I don't care to show that, right? Like, but I cry. Like, so I will let it out,
Yeah.
just because you do need to have that.
And it's
to let
okay.
it out.
It's
And like,
okay.
but like, what do you think that is though? Because sometimes when I watch movies and like something sad like comes on, like the thought of me crying will probably come up. But then at the same time, it comes in like, nah. It comes in like, wait, hold up. It's just a movie. Like, it's just a scene. They acted. It's not real life. You feel? So like, that's why I really probably wouldn't even cry. But like,
So you
I
don't
know.
see it.
I'm
So
like,
you don't see it as like that's a possible thing in life that can happen.
no, yeah, for sure. But then at the same time, I'm like, wait, but I'm watching
This
a movie.
fake.
Yeah, exactly. It's fake. Like, yeah, it could happen in real life, but it's a
Stop,
movie
like,
though. It didn't really
get
happen.
back to life.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I don't know why that happens. I was watching Next Level Chef finale before this, and I cried at the finale because I'm like, she won.
Nah, that's sensitive.
Beautiful, she won. She worked so hard.
Cooking shit.
Yo, mind you,
She killed the competition.
But that's not acting though. That's real life. 'Cause
That's-
it was a
yeah, that's real life, yeah.
So like,
but
if
just the
it's tough, I'll
support
cry at the
behind
time.
it, just the
Yeah.
support behind
There's-
it, that's dope.
American
In the
Idol
finale-
made me cry,
Yeah.
bro.
Yo,
In the finale, they bring out the
Alright.
finalist families and like surprise them, and like one of them was talking about her daughter who's special needs, and like there she was with her dad, like the contestant's husband, and I was like, oh my god, that's so beautiful. That's support.
No, yeah.
So I was in tears halfway through the episode. No other reason other than like human connection.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
No, it really is.
But even though, what is it? American Idol, America's Next Talent, bro. It's the support.
It is.
Because people could
The
be
stories, the narrative.
yo. As soon as they finish and the crowd start, I'm like, yo, he did good, man. I felt it, my nigga. I felt you, bro. You the man, son. Do it again.
Oh my god. So listen, right? So I want to bounce around, right? I want to bounce to like relationship wise, right?
Okay.
Like, 'cause we all want to get right in our relationship. We want to do, we want to do better, right? Like we ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? Right? So this is a question my wife wanted to ask, right? Yeah,
She be having questions.
She got a question. I asked, she like, yeah, let her know that thing. So she like, what is the psychology behind a man and a woman's perspective?
She be asking deep questions.
That question,
Girl, she catching me
It's
I-
crazy.
No, it's not crazy. I don't think it's a crazy question, but I just think that just goes back to like ancient times, like how he was just born.
Because she always say like, men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what that means still, but I'm like, I get it, we different. So that's, I guess, the perspective on
Better
that.
from
Like,
Mars.
It is
right?
different, yeah. But that's why we come to understanding though from the two people.
Boom.
Two people?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
What are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know if I
Even
can
you-
define, because y'all know I look at gender as a construct. Like there's gender fluidity. I'm not going to get into like masculine, feminine. I think that a lot of times we're going to go back to the patriarchy. I think for guys, people tell the society, the patriarchy tells you, do not be this way. Like, okay, do not cry, shows weakness, or suppress your feelings, push your feelings down. Like, don't talk about your feelings, man up, shut up, like, get over it, move past it, all that shit, right? That's going to affect you. When I do therapy, I don't do couples therapy, but I help this individual person kind of work on their communication pretty much and work on what is, again, going to sound corny, but like the love languages. Like, what is the way that you want to show love? What is the way that you want to receive love? Because those two things might be different. Don't let society tell you that you can't express your feelings. Be communicative. Find out, don't just be communicative, but find out like what is the way that you communicate. Do you talk better through text? Do you write things down better? Do you draw a picture? Do you, and this goes to both men and women, non-binary people, trans folk, whatever you identify as, this is a human thing. You need to, or people kind of need to figure out what works for them and what works for their partner.
Facts.
To figure out how to communicate better. You might not be able to communicate the exact same, but if you can meet halfway and be accepting of how you can receive communication, that might make things easier.
Yeah.
Damn,
You got me on that one because you said through text, like communicating through text.
Yeah.
So
I know, like, it sounds,
Like,
it might sound like deflective or like avoidant, but like some people do communicate better
get
through
expressed
writing,
more.
even
Yeah,
if it's
that's
not through
definitely
text,
me.
even
Yeah,
if it's
that's
through like a
definitely-
letter or
yeah.
like a presentation. Look at this PowerPoint I
Yeah.
made. Like,
That'd be
I
crazy.
fucking know.
That'd be crazy. Oh my God.
Right.
Well, listen here.
Yes.
This right here, I don't. Yo, that'd be like, wow.
Yes. I know that there are some autistic people out there in relationships that
I
are
would
like,
love to
here
see
is my
that.
presentation, and like, do that.
I
Do
believe
that.
I
100%.
strongly believe that.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Oh yeah, because I have that issue. Like, to be honest, like I'll articulate myself way better through text, but in person it's kind of like it's not the same. Like I wouldn't be thinking the same way I would be thinking as if I was texting. So I have that problem for sure. What you just said.
No, that's
So if that's the problem. Like, so how do we go upon that? Like, I just text it and then I show her in person.
Oh, you send it.
I mean, yeah, you might have to have that conversation where you're not having the conversation about the
Yeah.
problem itself, but you're like, I know how to communicate. This is the way I best communicate. So I don't want you to kind of take it as a like offensive. I'm not trying to deflect. So letting them know, like, I'm going to try to communicate with you the best way I feel comfortable and know how. You communicate with me the best way that you feel comfortable and know how. And if that's not the same as mine, that's absolutely okay. But let's just try it and see where it takes us.
Yeah.
Trial and error. You're not going to know until you try
it.
it.
Yeah, I'll definitely try that.
And no, because that, and honestly, that even that is hard in itself, because it's like the person has to accept, you know, how that communication is. Maybe I might not accept, and yo, what are you doing? You texting me? Is that there? Like, you know what I'm saying? And have that,
but
that
not only
pushback.
but
right?
not
Like,
only accept it, but they also gotta take it in as what they're reading, because it might read the text into like, yo, this nigga's yelling at me.
I mean, people could say,
You know what I'm saying? Yo, why is he cursing at me when the whole thing was like a calm, cool conversation?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That's how some people
You
might
gotta
take
understand, yeah.
text messages and shit like that.
no, and I ask that too because, like, you know, that also brings mental stress, and you know, relationship wise, like when people have two different perspectives on things, and it's always like clash, right? And you know, it's just like now you're walking around life, walking around the street, like, you waking up with that stress in your mind, all that shit, right? So, you know, that leads to like mental health and all that shit, right? So, and it leads to my next question is, you know, how can you help people identify and set healthy boundaries in their relationships? If so, like,
Looking at what is kind of like a hard no and what you are willing to be flexible on. How you want to be treated versus how you want to treat the other person. Again, going back to love languages, like, what is the way I want to be loved versus how do I want to show love? And this is not just like romantic relationships either. This is because a lot of the boundary issues that I hear about are family. It's really about like parents, siblings, aunts, uncles. And those are sometimes harder because when people are set in their ways, they don't respect your boundaries that you set. So if you are willing to respect someone's boundaries and maintain a healthy relationship with someone, just being able to have the conversation of like, what is the way that I want to be treated versus the way that you want to be treated, and how can I attain that? How can I show that to you? Like, what can I show you? Shows you gratitude, shows you appreciation, shows you that I'm trying to communicate effectively. Sometimes you just have to have the conversation without having the conversation. Like I said, going back to I'm setting up how we're going to communicate, but it might not be the traditional talking way.
Right.
Which is absolutely fine. Like, we can also like be flexible in what we think is good for appropriate ways of communicating. Like, it's absolutely okay if people want to text. Like, I know people who don't know how to communicate verbally like that. They get choked up, or, I mean, I'm a person too. Like, if I'm deep in a fight, or if I'm thinking about like what I want to tell my parents that I'm mad at them for, I'm crying already. Like the tears are welling up inside of me, and I'm like, wait until I learn how to stop crying, and it's over. I'm going to be winning arguments. But sometimes you can't do that. So sometimes you just got to follow, like, what is the way that I know how to communicate that is best for me, pushes me a little bit out of my comfort zone, but not so far out of my comfort zone that I want to run and hide.
Nah, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's good, because I was going to ask you what he asked similar. I was going to ask, how does people-pleasing behavior intersect with issues in love relationships?
People pleasing, people are usually doing it from anxiety. So usually that kind of looks like saying yes to everything. My mind goes to, like, if you are always overextending yourself in friendships or relationships, and you notice that you're, like, always burnt out, but you're always saying yes to plans because you feel so guilty for saying no. That's people pleasing.
Okay.
That's an example of people pleasing.
I get it now.
It means that you are trying to accommodate everyone in your life while not prioritizing yourself and not looking at respecting your own boundaries. So a lot of times that looks like overextending yourself, whether that be at work, whether it be in family relationships, romantic relationships. It's just really extending yourself to make people happy. And usually there isn't a limit to it, because it's never going to be enough for you. And you're never going to be, sometimes there are people that are difficult. Like, you're trying to please people that are difficult, and they might not be pleased. And you're going to be more anxious.
To please them more. Like,
yeah, exactly.
So doesn't that lead to, at some point, exploding
Yeah, absolutely.
within yourself? Right?
Absolutely. However, that kind of shows. Sometimes that looks like depressive symptoms. Sometimes that look like anxiety symptoms. Sometimes that looks like distracting yourself so much that you don't have a moment to even think about how fucked up you feel.
Yeah.
That's why it's always good to say no.
Right. No, you're right. It's super good to say no. You know what I mean? Because that with the people pleasing, it's true. Like that leads to all that. And now where you at with your life now? Now all the people you pleased and all that. And sad to say, they might not even be there to help you.
Yeah.
Right?
Or they'll always see you as you're accessible, and they can get to you easily because you are unlikely to say no.
Yeah. Call this person. They'll always say yeah.
Yeah.
Yo,
Which,
that's crazy.
if you do it from the goodness of your heart, sometimes that might sometimes that might nourish you. Sometimes that might feel really good for you, but there's a limit to everything, and sometimes too much is going to lead to burnout. So
To burn out for sure.
you might want to say yes to some things. Sometimes you got to say no to some other shit.
That's crazy, because now I just thought of like another movie reference that I'm about to go back and see with different eyes now, which is the Yes Man with Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
He's just saying yes to everything. But look at the
Exactly.
end, though. Look at what happens at the
burnt
end. Yeah,
You got burnt out.
That's real life.
Yep.
That's real life.
That's real life.
My man's a movie king over here, son. He spent a lot of time at home. I like that. My guy. But Bree, what have you learned about love relationships and mental health through your work that you wish more people knew?
I think it goes back to the not being realistic about your expectations with everything, with relationships with your partner, relationships with your family, relationships with your work, with yourself. Being realistic about your expectations is important. Having standards is good, but being realistic is really important, because you can... It's not a situation where, like, expect less so that you don't get disappointed. It's more so like it's okay to live in the gray that you hope things would be the best case scenario, but you also accept that things could be mid and nothing, could be completely neutral, and could be the worst case scenario. Like,
I like that.
Either or is an option. It's going to be difficult if it's the worst case scenario, but you're going to power through it.
Yeah, I like that. Yo, don't forget, y'all, living in the gray is okay.
Living in the gray is okay.
Yo,
As
seriously.
long as you add some color to it.
Yo.
Yo, y'all should have seen the way how my face turned when she did that.
Yo, for
It
real.
was looking like Stevie J.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fire. My man read my mind. Yo, he seen the thought bubble come up quick, son.
Yo, because he always preaching that. He's always preaching that.
Yo, I love that shit.
Oh
Because
my
I
God.
always tell people, regardless of where you at in the dark spot, it's always good to find yourself in the darkness, in your shadow self, before, even though you already know who you are in the light, you know what I'm saying? But it's always good to find yourself in the shadow self. Now, when you're in the light, you know how to imbalance yourself between the yin and the yang, and you know how to go forward with in life. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? As far as your depression, your anxiety, your antisocialism. If you don't want to be around people, it's okay not to be around people. Because there's be days where I want to be around people, and then tomorrow I don't want to be around nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But then again, I want to be around people, and I want to be around nobody. But
You got a social battery, that's cool.
Yeah.
It drains, so go recharge it.
I think that's a good balance.
yeah,
Yeah,
it is. It's
yeah.
great.
I agree with you now. I think that's a
It's
great
a
balance.
great balance because I mean, the more people pour into you, you get drained out because now your cup overflows, and who's gonna clean the mess?
Hello.
You know what I mean?
Nobody.
There you go, right? Let me get some of
Snaps.
that. Nobody gonna clean the mess but you. You're gonna get up from the seat and you're gonna go to the kitchen, get some paper towels, clean up the mess. So at the end of the day, you put in the work regardless. Yeah. So
Let's
that's what
get
I'm
it.
saying.
Let's get it.
Let's do another question. Then I got member, audience, listener.
So this is the
polls.
segment right here that we have. Yeah, audience, right? Thank you, supporters, questions, right? Hit it, Bree.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you to everybody who answered my poll questions. I know I'm annoying sometimes, but like,
Nah.
But that's good. That's good though. That listen, while y'all answer y'all questions, man. Like this is for good, good information, man.
it's
like,
for research.
It's for research, right?
Information's free, y'all.
Don't you want to be researched? Don't you want to be?
Hey, the way you put it there, that's crazy, like, bro.
Pause.
All right, like you want to be researched? All right. Nah, but yeah,
All right,
man, it's
so-
full of information.
So I'm gonna throw it to y'all first, and then I'll let you know what the percentages with the members were.
Got you.
So I'm not gonna ask if y'all are specifically in therapy, but if you were to think about going to therapy, do you think that race, gender, sexuality, any of those things, that the therapist identity matters to you in picking a therapist? Okay. Yes for you.
Yes.
Okay.
I could say why too. Like, if
Yeah,
you,
go ahead.
Okay. Yes, because I feel that it has. For me personally, I think it's like a bias type thing. Like, I want to have an older person. I want to have a female, right?
A woman.
A woman, right? Yeah, a woman, and that person is actually in the situation, not in the same situation I'm in, but like they say the marriage situation. If anything, I was to go to therapy, right? Like
Has lived experience.
I've lived experience, right. I don't need somebody that's younger than me to tell me about no. You know what I'm saying? Like you haven't experienced none of this. Like no offense, but that's just my criteria.
Yeah.
So yes, I definitely have a specific.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like
I agree the same way. I mean, I've done therapy,
yeah.
and I had a female,
Woman.
a woman. I'm sorry. I had a woman. I had a guy at first, but he was a psychologist, and I with him I was like,
No connection.
nah. I felt the vibe.
Yeah.
Like
The
even
vibe
when
was
I
off.
yeah even
Sometimes
when
the vibe be off.
yeah even when I walked into his office, you can tell like the only thing that's lighting up in here is the light right there on your table.
Real
Like,
sterile environment.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when I went with homegirl, oh.
It's different.
It's warm.
Yeah.
warm.
So and then it was you want to know what was even crazy about it is when she got pregnant.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah.
What happened?
Because now she's more of a mother now. She's feeling more
Yeah. The lived
more
experience.
caring. Yeah, the living like she's more caring and more nurturing. Like you know what? I understand, Josh. I understand. Cry, bro. Here, take this box of tissue. yeah. But it was that I agree with the
Yeah.
bias thing.
What about you?
As far as race, I don't really care for it.
Like,
I
doesn't
don't.
matter.
It doesn't
Isn't a
matter.
factor.
Yeah,
Okay.
race,
It doesn't
yeah,
matter.
race
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, I don't think any of those things would matter to me except for the age though. Like you said, like you got to be somebody older for sure because they definitely lived a longer life than me. They've been through way more things. They experienced way more than me.
Yep.
And that's really it, just age. But
So
race,
gender won't matter?
and gender, nah.
So you-
I mean, but like also it goes back to like if I go there and the vibe is right too. Like
Yeah,
the vibe
absolutely.
definitely got to be right. Like
Yeah.
I can't just be anybody and I'm not feeling it. And
Could be a person that checks all your boxes and the vibe is
yeah.
just off.
yeah, exactly. The vibe is
Yeah.
just off.
Yeah.
Like I would just walk out.
So the audience said 60% yes, that they do take those things into consideration. 10 people answered and 60% of them said yes, they do take it into consideration.
That's cool.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah.
Okay, so the next poll question. If you are in therapy, I asked this a little bit. This isn't verbatim that I asked in my poll questions, but it's the same question. If you are in therapy, do you vet your therapist? So do you When I say vet, I mean kind of like, do you look at their credentials before you actually meet with them? When you meet with them, do you ask them questions to make sure it's a safe space for you?
Yeah,
what
I
have
do.
you done in therapy?
When I first went, I let them ask me what they wanted to ask, and then I flipped the table on them, and I wanted to know how comfortable they would be if the table was turned. From the patient to the doctor, not as me being a doctor, he's a patient. Right. So when I did that, the woman, she was great. She was like, okay, Josh, of course. I'll tell you anything you need to know. And she just let it all out. Look, I went to this, I went to that, went to that. I was like, oh, by all means, boom. So let me tell you my problems. The dude, like I said, he was like, oh, well, see the plaque right there? Yeah.
Evasive.
You one of them alpha beta phi guy dudes, but yeah.
Questions.
But yeah, I asked questions. I had to because they weren't young. Well, they were young, but like 2 years. But they were so professional and they held themselves so good that I had the confidence in the woman to tell me that all right, cool, I'm gonna stick with this.
Yeah, nice.
So.
That's what I'm saying. I think one woman is way more emotional. Like they deal more with emotions. They understand more. Like you know what I mean, like
she understood a lot.
She understood. Like, all right, he wants to. Let me give him my. God wants to boast. Like, yeah, look, you see that? Yeah, that's it.
But it depends on the dude, though. Honestly, it depends on the dude because there's a lot of good men out there with good hearts that actually really want to listen too.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's just a vibe. But I'll definitely want to ask like questions too, though, because if I'm talking to you, like. That means that me and you are obviously going to have that connection moving forward after this. Yep. So I definitely got to know stuff about you in order for me like to even express myself.
Yeah. And I watched a lot of TV shows, Law and Order, boop, boop, boom. You know what I'm saying? I've watched all that. I know that if you're in a room with someone and you have a deep conversation with them and they have a certain type of eye texture, they don't look directly at you, that they don't really care about you. So if I'm in a room with you and you're asking me a question or I ask you a question, and you like automatically go like this, now I'm assuming you're protecting something away from me that you don't want to tell me.
Right. So you're reading the body language.
Yeah, definitely. So that I'm gonna be like, you know what? I will never mention this ever again. Let's move forward. Yeah, that's it.
Yo, that was me yesterday, bro. I was at the store and I asked for chopped cheese at like 10 o'clock at night. Bro, the dude looks like, bro, he does like this is watching that. Bro, so I stopped. I look at him like, bro. Like, what? Like, I'm wrong for getting a chopped cheese at 10 o'clock? Like, bro, what the
fuck? People don't get hungry at 10?
Yeah, bro. Like, I had to pause for a second. I'm like, anyways, but I kept on ordering my shit. I was
your man said.
Yeah, he looked at my time
and
looked at me.
The sandwich.
Yeah, like, bro, go fucking make my chopped cheese, bro.
Oh, that is fucking hilarious.
But body language is definitely one of them, though. Like,
body language is key, yo. I'm telling you, man.
It's too funny.
Oh, my God.
57% out of 14 people, 57% said they do vet their therapists. I saw on TikTok somewhere, I know it wasn't TikTok, it was on Instagram, it was a therapist actually. She made a reel that was like, I'm asking 3 questions. Where were you January 6th? Who did you vote for in 2016 and 2020? Oh, and I forgot what the third one was, but the January 6th question is valid. You should be asking your therapist where they were January 6th.
That's a good question.
Wait, what's January 6th?
The insurrection.
With that whole shit where fucking...
when they stormed the Capitol because they thought Trump won the election.
Remember? No. They shot homeboy.
Oh, man.
Then you don't remember that, dude?
I don't know what happened.
They stormed the Capitol, bro. All them people ran into the Capitol.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they all ransacked. And then
yeah, I remember.
The security officer came over and he shot somebody in the head.
Yeah, I remember.
That's crazy.
Man, listen.
Know where they were, guys. That is not a therapist.
I'm gonna ask that question.
I ain't gonna lie. I was at home.
I was at home watching shit unfold.
Oh yeah, I was at home. I ain't gonna lie.
It's like I'm home, not involved.
Not involved. Leave me alone. Out of sight, out of mind.
Mm-hmm. Me no know nothing.
Me no know nothing.
You got any polls? Any more polls? Or you going?
More questions. Okay.
I like this.
Do you talk to your therapist about social issues or politics that affect you?
Social issues.
Got you.
I don't do politics.
Okay.
Yeah,
social issues like what though?
Social issues like my like what is going on around me, my inner circle,
your environment.
My inner circle, my outer circle, and everything in between.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. What about you?
Same. Like it's fuck politics. I don't indulge in that because I don't know shit a lot about politics and I'm losing battle. But socially, you know that. Hey, like that's I'd rather do that for sure.
Yeah, I could say that. Yeah, I could agree too. Socially, for sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So 80 out of 14 people, 57% said yes, they do talk to their therapist about social issues or politics. So I'm gonna ask a question that is not a poll question, but I'm gonna pose it to you guys. Do you think therapy is political?
No.
Nah.
No.
Explain why.
I think it is now.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
Is he with the right answer?
Because capitalism.
Capitalism is definitely one,
That's
yeah.
what it is. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. All right. I can see that.
I'll say it as this.
I can see
Our existence overall is political. We pay taxes. That's fucking political.
True.
Yeah.
We have laws that say back not so long ago, we had laws that said black people can't be in the same place as white people. So like your existence is political. And when we think about people coming into therapy, a lot of people that come into therapy and don't actually have a diagnosis, or we can diagnose their issues as usually adjustment disorder. People are experiencing environmental issues that are impacted by politics that create trauma. So when we think about gun violence, or like the fact that Reagan, flooded the streets with drugs, and then told black people that black people are drug addicts, and like, is that not political? Does that not create trauma? Does that not create generations
It's
of
creating a lot of trauma, for sure.
Yeah.
But that leads to like the decolonize therapy, exactly what you was talking about, because it all comes from that, like from the capitalism. And you just posted a post too, like, yo, if somebody had came to us with capitalism like 40 years, like, no, there was like, I forgot what was the post.
Oh, I think I put it on my personal one. It was like, if someone, if capitalism didn't exist and someone came to you and said, we should work 40 hours a week for some guy that's going to take all the money and make all the decisions, we would jump him. We would beat the shit out of that person.
Because for real, it's like, yo, that's unfair. And like a lot of things that, everything is kind of based off our culture, Spanish and black culture. So they basically just capitalizing off that and just freaking doing whatever with it.
Yeah, this whole world is based off capitalism.
Yeah. So when people come into therapy, especially now with like,
so I can see that for sure.
Just so many like different things going on. We're in another election year, which always pushes people's increases people's anxiety. There are, every day some right is being taken away at some point. So when people come into therapy and it's like, okay, I'll have to diagnose you with adjustment disorder, because adjustment disorder is like, here are all the symptoms you're experiencing because you've experienced a significant life transition or life change or life event, and you've been experiencing this for the last 6 months. And then when it's not adjustment disorder, it eventually works its way up to PTSD, which is a whole other thing, because we're looking at a diagnosis that looking at a diagnostic manual that some guy made. Some guy.
Yeah.
And we're using that as like our Bible to tell people that they are disordered or not.
Yeah.
So a lot of people come into therapy now that don't really meet criteria, but they're feeling the effects of their environment around them. They're the things that politics affects, but we don't think politics affects, because we like to think that, we're not involved in politics, and you may not be involved in politics,
directly,
but your life is definitely affected by politics.
Yeah.
And we don't even know it.
And you don't know it.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, because we both said no on the political thing.
Yeah, right.
Because we don't give a fuck about the politics, but do we know it affects us?
This whole world was built off politics. Well, it was built off politics,
and that's why they say like colonism is like one of like humanity's core wounds. Cause look at bro, just look back at the history. Like, look at what they done.
We kill it with ourselves, within ourselves. Yeah.
I mean, it decimated populations, communities.
Yeah, word.
Trauma, like we still feel. I don't care what anyone says. We still feel the effects of generational trauma. Is our ancestral wounds from colonization, and we're still feeling it today.
And it doesn't even have to be specifically like your generation.
Exactly.
It can be your friends' culture's generation that affects you, and you're like, oh man, I'm just here just to be here. Yep. You know what I'm saying? But that's crazy though.
We kind of like inheriting all of that that's been happening.
Yeah.
And we don't even know it.
Yeah.
And that's why that builds a lot of trauma, a lot of depression, anxiety, and all that extra stuff behind it. Yep. So can you break down, right, what is trauma-informed care?
So I like to think of trauma-informed care as I will acknowledge that I am trained in the prolonged exposure, which is an evidence-based practice for PTSD. I have not really used it a lot because I don't have a lot of clients that the specific thing that they are coming to therapy for is PTSD, one singular event that they're trying to decrease the symptoms for. But a lot of my clients, at this point, every therapist has to be trauma-informed, has to have some background of understanding the effects of trauma on the nervous system, emotional regulation, how people cope with triggers, also being less looking at how people who are experiencing trauma or trauma symptoms, how they cope, and not demonizing how they cope, because a lot of times we look at the symptoms as like that's a maladaptive coping skill, a bad coping skill. So we need to get rid of that coping skill. Trauma-informed care also includes being, and this is also like in decolonizing therapy, you allow for the value of a coping skill that maybe isn't healthy to a certain extent. There's still value in that coping skill. The person is doing that because they are in survival mode. So when we do trauma-informed care, you have to kind of take into consideration all the effects that trauma has on the body itself, on emotional regulation, on our brain, on our nervous system. Even if that's not the central focus of your therapy. Like you might not be specifically working on the traumatic event. You might be working with someone who has years of trauma and of repressed trauma that it's like different events. They're not all the same event, or there's the same event that has happened over years and years and years. So trauma-informed care really, every therapist needs to be educated on how to approach people who have experienced trauma, what trauma looks like, accepting that not everyone's trauma is the most emergent situation. Not every trauma is, a sexual assault or a murder or gun violence. Trauma exists in different forms. Right. Does not mean that every therapist should be trauma informed, but to specifically work on PTSD or complex PTSD, there are specific treatments for that.
So with that being said, right, so how can trauma-informed care be integrated into relationship counseling?
Yo,
that's a great question.
That's big. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I want to hear this one.
That's a great question. I will be honest, I don't know because I don't do relationship specific. Like I don't do couples counseling. Okay. That, I don't think I would do couples counseling because I can't imagine managing two people's emotions in one room. Like I'm here, like I can, I'm struggling with one and my own. So shout out to the couples therapists out there. Y'all are doing God's work.
Yo, facts.
But I can imagine that if two people come from a background of trauma, that their responses are going to show up in their relationship for sure. And they are probably going to, it is possible that they will trigger each other. And I hope that if that is the case that you are in, you have a supportive partner, both of you are supportive to each other, and you guys are able to get your own therapy or support group or whatever works for your self-care.
And that's very common too. That's very common between relationships because that's all it's about. You got two different people now, two different backgrounds, and the trauma that they both went through, and now they trying to, be one together. So that right there, you could definitely take off the other person just because of what you went through. But then that's when understanding comes apart.
Yep. Most definitely, because I was also gonna ask you. I was gonna ask her too, like, how can you elaborate on how trauma can affect one's ability to maintain a healthy relationship? But I just broke that down easily, perfect.
I think it's a lot like any other diagnosis. People avoid their triggers, and avoidance could mean shutting down. I have my clients call it reptile brain, going completely like lizard brain, just shutting down. You could be standing in front of the person and you're just like, I have all the words in my head and I just cannot imagine speaking them. It shows up in different ways. And again, not just romantic relationships, also family relationships, friendships. People detach, disconnect because all that stuff. I still have more poll questions.
Okay, let's get it.
What would you want your therapist to take a blank slate approach? Blank slate refers to the idea that therapists do not ever share anything about themselves as to be as objective and unbiased as possible.
No, I don't like that. I'm throwing you out the window.
Yeah.
That's like staring at a piece of paper and you're not figuring out what the hell to write.
Okay.
Yeah. Pretty much. It's true. And the paper's just staring back at you like, dude,
like I would love to
hear. Nah, I need you to tell me that you going to give me something when I put this paper on you and we're going to do some shit. But other than that, nah. Because therapists out there that don't. Then there's therapists who are half-assed, that they'll serve you something to make you comfortable to say what they want you to say. And then they'll be like, oh, so that's it. Oh, okay, so how about you just take some Zoloft?
Yeah.
And then get the fuck out of my face, because I don't have time for you, motherfucker. You know what I mean? And that's exactly how most people are, and I don't like that. And those are the people that are careless.
Yeah. What about you guys?
I'm with that.
You with that?
Definitely with
Agree?
that. Yeah, I'm definitely with that for sure.
I think that there is, as therapists, we were taught the blank slate approach, and I see how people see the value in that. Okay. But realistically, we are in a field where our dollar is based on our human connection.
Okay. Yeah, I want to feel that you could relate. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I want to feel that. Like,
absolutely. So even, and I've heard from clients as well. I was listening to this podcast once. Incidentally, a podcast called "Am I a Bad Therapist?" about therapists who are like have experience. You know, they've made mistakes and they're like, "Shit, I'm a bad therapist." But one therapist was talking about how she was in recovery from an eating disorder, and then she eventually had a client who had an eating disorder. And for most of their relationship, she never divulged that she was in recovery from an eating disorder. So when she finally did, the client was tight at her because she's like, this whole time you could have made me feel like we were in this together, not just you treating me, but like, you know where I'm coming from. And she saw that as a mistake. Obviously she didn't make that intentionally, but that's what we're taught, is that we don't do that, and we are absolutely missing out on the human connection. You obviously shouldn't be telling your client, you shouldn't be, hijacking the session and talking about talking about yourself in the session. But a lot of clients want to hear like, you're not alone in this. Like, you're not alone in feeling anxious. You're not alone in struggling with
I would definitely have a bigger connection with that for sure. Like,
I feel better. I'll leave your office feeling like, all right, cool.
I can invite her to dinner or invite her to dinner. Like something like that, right? Like, damn,
I can bring you to Christmas.
They get me.
So 65% out of 17 people, 65% of people agreed no, they do not want a blank slate therapist. 24% they said they don't know, and 12% said yes, they would want a blank slate therapist. The next question: do you believe therapy is meant to cure you?
No.
Yeah, nah.
I don't think it's meant to cure you. It's
not 100%.
It's meant to stabilize you, to stabilize your mood, your you.
I mean,
I think you could do. I think you could do therapy as long as you want until you feel cured.
Until you feel like you don't need it. We're down with that.
Until you don't need it no more.
But do you really feel cured though?
That's on you, I guess. If you feel that way, if you cope without it.
No? I do like that answer, because I think that that we think of cure, and in the sense that the answer is no, therapy isn't a cure. Therapists cannot make you not feel things. So like, we cannot make you not feel anxiety. We cannot make you not feel depressed. We can work on decreasing the intensity, frequency, and severity and duration. So how long those symptoms last. But we're not going to just like
cure you,
not depressed anymore, you know? Yeah. I do think that for the people that answered yes, and astonishingly, 67 out of 15%, 67 said yes, they think therapy is a cure. 13% said no, and 20% said don't know. I do think that for some people,
that's this perspective though.
Right. Back to like, how do you define it? Like, if your definition is I want to eradicate myself of all bad thoughts and feelings, absolutely not. That's not going to happen. If your goal is to decrease your symptoms so much that you actually do not meet criteria for the disorder, absolutely, that is 100% doable. We talked about that last time with OCD therapy, that you can decrease your symptoms so much that if you reassess your symptoms, you no longer meet the criteria. You can go back to meeting it, but at this point in time, you don't. Right. So in that sense, I could see why people would say it would be a cure, but I think that you're absolutely right as well, that it is meant to learn techniques on how to take better care of yourself, not to rid yourself of bad things.
Yeah, because we had somebody up here like previously, and it was like, yo, like the healing doesn't stop. You know?
It's ongoing.
Yeah, it's always ongoing. But as long as you're aware of it and you know what it is, and you know the answer to like why you acting like that, then
by all means.
Yeah.
And you allow yourself to feel things. You don't have to suppress your feelings or try to fix them. If you feel sad or down about a situation, eventually you'll get move past it, but you have to move
Yeah.
through it, not avoid it.
Of course. Even hop over if you have to.
So for this one was for therapists. So for therapists, what was your ideal caseload? And I put the options as, I kind of fucked up on some of the options. So I put like 5 to 15, and then another option was 16 to 25, and the last option was 21 to 25. So numbers are kind of fucked up. But 50% of people said their sweet spot out of 14 people, 50% of people said their sweet spot was 16 to 25 hours. So within that range. No one said more than 25 hours. And I totally get that, because for my therapists out there, talking to 25 people a week,
That's crazy.
is crazy.
Yeah.
Talking to 30 people a week,
Yeah, that's a lot.
if your company doesn't give a fuck about you.
Word.
Look at me, my therapist out there.
It's either that, or you as a therapist just don't give a fuck about people, and you just accepting as is, as they come. Like, oh yeah.
Which is exactly why therapists burn out, because a lot of therapists in different employment places are being told our requirements are 35 clients a week. Well, there's only 40 hours of a work week. When are you eating lunch? When are you when are you going to the bathroom? When do you actually have time to do your notes? When do you have time to switch from one extremely traumatized client who they've been crying the entire session because they've been talking about how extensive their trauma is, to someone who is a little bit more, the environmental problems are not as severe as that. Like, how do you switch between those two environments?
That's true.
My therapist, I'm looking directly at you. If they ask for more than 30 hours, if they ask for more than 25, break up with that place.
Yeah.
They don't care about you.
Gonna get burnt out.
They don't care
wait.
about you.
Wait, so how long is usually like a session? Like does it ranges from?
Yes, some sessions can be 30 minutes, some sessions can be 45, some can be 53, and then there are some sessions that are 90.
hours.
A 90-minute
hour,
session
30
I will
minutes.
not do, which is why, according to the manual on how we are trained for prolonged exposure for PTSD, those can be 90-minute sessions. And again, shout out to the therapists that are really doing God's work out there. I could not do that. I cannot. I've done 90-minute sessions before. It is really fucking hard.
It's a lot though too. 90
It's
minutes.
not fair to the therapist, and it's not fair to the client. The client deserves as our utmost attention. And when you are sitting there talking to someone about the darkest of their pain sometimes for 90 minutes, that's a lot.
Yeah, it really is.
I can imagine. Especially the dark things.
It's a lot. And then to take a 5-minute break, eat a granola bar while you're taking a shit on the fucking toilet because you don't have any time to do that elsewhere, and then to go back in. Therapist, love yourself. Please. We need you, so love yourself.
Word, honestly, yeah. She ain't lying about that. Like, you know, you're a service out here that people actually need. So yeah.
And then is it kind of like a format too when you go? Like, so like say if you have like a client there and they just keep talking and talking, like how you said, it's kind of like a burnout, because now you listen to all the dark stuff. And so what's the hardest part? Like listening to the dark stuff, or like just having to ask them the questions that you think that they need to answer?
For me, I can't speak for every therapist, but for me, I think that's less hard, and it's more so having to, I am lucky in that I get 15 minutes between sessions, but even 15 minutes going from someone who was like has really no support, has, intense, prolonged generational trauma, it's really hard to go back into session with anyone of any other issue when you put all your energy into one session because you just had to listen and ask questions. So it's less of like actually hearing it and more of like, I have to go and finish work after this and I am depleted.
Yeah.
Got you.
The next question is, and you guys kind of answered this actually, do you want your therapist to have lived experience? Out of 9 people, 67% said it doesn't matter, 22% said no, and 11% said yes.
Wow, it doesn't matter. All right, cool. I guess.
To each their own.
To each their own. Yeah. No
Stupid.
judgment. No judgment.
Therapists, do you think about leaving the field? Out of 7 people, 53. What do you guys think?
Leaving
More
the field.
more yeses than nos?
Nah, I think more no's than yes.
I will go there. I would want to believe that. I would want to believe that. Like
53% of people said yes. They think about leaving the field. 29% said no, and 29% haven't thought about it.
you see, damn man. Is it? Do you think it's based on society? It is now?
I think it's based on employment. I think it's based on insurance companies are evil. And they do not want to pay therapists what they're worth. There are insurance companies that have very good rates for therapists. The majority of insurance companies don't have good rates for therapists. So when you're told to sit with someone for 60 minutes, but you're only getting paid $50 to listen to their traumas and their life experiences and be on and ask them really introspective, interrogative questions, $50 isn't really a lot in the grand scheme of things. And it's really not sustainable. Like therapists can't do 40 sessions a week to match a 40-hour work week.
Facts.
You will not get good services if you have a therapist who's working 40 hours and 35 of those hours are going to therapy and only 1 hour per day is lunch and there's no time in between for them to take a break. You don't want that therapist, not because that therapist isn't good, because that therapist is fucking tired.
Yeah, and how do you connect with a therapist like that too? That's having
Exactly.
So much work, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
Exactly.
That's tough.
It's not good for the client. It's not good for the therapist.
Definitely not.
But I do think it is a systemic issue that even now I see people I thought the field had changed. I had hoped the field had changed. I had a client who was in a mental health counseling program getting their master's, and internships have not changed. You still don't get paid for internships. So you're expected to do free labor, work full time, go to school, and pay your rent. And baby, rent is a lot right now.
Right. What? Shoot.
Rent is a lot right now, so it's not adding up. It's not adding up.
Yeah.
We are almost done. Therapists, do you charge late cancel or no-show fees? Out of 10 people, 70% said yes, 10% said no, and 20% said
I'll take that as a deposit. You ain't gonna let me wait there, and this for anybody. I'm sorry, therapists and all that. You ain't gonna let me wait there, and you ain't even showing up. Like
My time is valuable.
you know what I'm saying? I could be taking other clients that really need my help, right? So you want to waste your money? Send that deposit, but. You miss it, then hey.
Yo, not even as a therapist, not even as a therapist, as a podcast. Yo, come on time.
Yeah,
Thank you. But I vouch for that because I came late one time too when we had some, but it's okay.
Yeah. That what happens.
It happens. I'm human, y'all.
Yeah, especially going through with fucking New York City's traffic and everything.
What?
It's understandable.
Yes.
I have no excuse. I live like 10 minutes away. I'd just be late all the time.
Nah, you was good though.
Yeah, she was good. She was good. Bro.
53% of people, 70% said, I said the percentages. I would say that is fair because, again, you are paying to hold someone's time.
Yeah.
I think that I am pretty flexible, that I ask for like 24 hours advance notice. First, same day cancellation or no show is a freebie. You get the first one. If it becomes a pattern, I'm going to have to charge you.
Yeah, now you're just wasting my time at this point.
I could have put someone else in there. I could have had an empty, or I could have planned my day around it, you know?
And quite frankly, you get paid for it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you get paid for.
I mean, if you charge the fee, then you get paid your fee.
Yeah. So quite frankly, people got to earn a living too, right? So it's like, hey, shoot.
Facts.
Yeah.
Keep your appointments, man.
Yeah.
And if not, don't worry about losing that payment then.
Yeah. And therapists don't feel guilty. I mean, it's okay to feel guilty. I can't tell you how to feel. I feel guilty sometimes too. But your clients sign a contract. When they sign a consent, bingo. They get the information. If you have all your paperwork right, they get the information that your fee is your fee. If it's a late cancel or no show, and you can always pull up that paperwork and remind them. You have to run a business. Unfortunately, we are a capitalistic society.
Going back to that, yep.
And we have to also have enough money to be able to be delivering our services.
Yeah. Shit.
We have to be comfortable to give you better service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
much.
also, like, if that's a pattern of behavior, we can't enable that. Like,
Yeah,
what
yeah.
kind? It would be bad of me as a therapist to enable behavior that is like taking advantage or
Responsibility. You don't have
being,
responsibility
yeah,
at all,
not
yeah.
not taking accountability, not being responsible. Therapist, do you think it's unfair to be charged a late cancel or a no-show fee? Out of 14%, 70% said, 79% said, no, it is not unfair. 14% said don't know, and 7% said yes. So the majority,
They agree.
majority agreed.
Yeah.
Majority agreed. Therapist,
fair.
do you think you make a fair wage? Out of 8, 50% said yes, 25% said no, 25% said unsure. I think therapists need to make more money.
I was about to ask you,
I
what do you
agree.
think? Yeah.
I think therapists need to make
I
more money.
agree.
Yeah. I think that like this is hard work, and
Yeah.
none of us got into this field thinking that we were going to be rich. They told us that when we got into grad school. They told us we would not make money. So we went through the whole process knowing that we were not going to be rich. And most of us don't get into this field to be rich. Like it is, we just want to make money like everybody else does and feed ourselves and pay our rent.
Oh
And
yeah, but y'all should definitely get paid more too, because like doctors, they get paid a lot. They get paid a lot, and that's for your physical health
Yeah.
too. So mentally, that's way more important too, because everything that's going on in your head, that's how you move throughout the day.
Yep.
So I definitely feel like y'all should get paid more too, because that's way more serious than even physical
mentally,
health. Like how you said in the quote in the beginning.
Boom. You got it. Damn, you caught on that quick, son.
And the last one, do you think your therapist should not struggle with mental health? Can you guess what the results were?
Bueno.
I hope the yeses were like 90-something%.
Yeah, I think the yes was high. for sure.
Because I like to see my niggas struggle, bro. If I see my therapist walking through the door and he look like he's going through some, yo, sit down, bro. Let's talk, bro.
But, yo, that also shows you like that, yo, that the connection's gonna be there.
Yo.
Be human and stuff like that. You're going through it. Shit. Damn, like you said, brother,
Let's talk.
I've been through it. Come here, let me talk to you about this. Like, how I handle this.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely with that.
So 100% agreed that therapists are allowed to struggle with
We
their mental
human.
health.
We human. We all got emotions. Therapists are not. People gotta stop playing like therapists is not human beings. Like, you know what I'm saying? We all have emotions. Like we go through things every day. Every day is a
It's that
struggle.
emotional intelligence, and I feel like too, like therapy is not really too like marketed too. I don't really see it too much. You know, like I do hear about therapy, but not as much as it should be out there. Like yo, you know, like go do that for your mental health.
Always.
And if therapy isn't for you, find other ways to do things that are therapeutic. Join a support group, join a community group,
Draw a plant group.
join a playing
You know what I'm
group.
saying? Like, right? Like,
Shout out to the run groups, Boogie Down Bronx Runners. We run Uptown Crew. I see y'all. I'm a little bit anxious myself, so I haven't joined y'all, but maybe I'll get to it one day. But yeah, do stuff that like
it's
nourishes
therapeutic,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna
People
ask
go to the
you,
gym. People, you know what I'm saying? Do different things.
because I was gonna ask, can you talk about the importance of self-care for individuals navigating mental health challenges while in a relationship?
I think self-care is a priority in if you're in a romantic relationship or not. Well, if you're in a relationship, that could be a family relationship, but self-care for yourself, self-care should be like top 5 priority. And sometimes it got to be number 1, because if you are feeling depleted, what can you give to other people? If you have nothing to give, then you're giving nothing. And if you care about how much you give to people and how you show up for people, then you're going to be disappointed in yourself because you're so depleted you can't give anything.
That's a fact. So what role does self-compassion play in healing from past traumas and improving relationship dynamics?
I think it's important to not just be kind to yourself, but give yourself grace when you're not kind to yourself. And that it's not that it's okay to not be kind to yourself, but it's okay to feel like you are disappointed in yourself, or that you could have done better, or that it's okay to take accountability for your mistakes, but also to remember that we don't live in the gray. You're probably not, more often than not, people are not inherently good or inherently bad. We just are. So if your goal is to try to be a better person for yourself and for the people around you, then making sure that you pour into your cup and that you are kind to yourself overall, but also you take accountability and responsibility. And it's okay to do both. To take accountability, being like, I fucked up, but I'm gonna do better next time. I know I got this.
That happened to me.
that.
That happened to me recently at my job where I installed the combination lock on the door. I wasn't supposed to put it on. So I did I fucked up. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fix it. And I fixed it and it didn't even look like I put the lock on the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, accountability is big, man. I think that's a challenge with yourself.
Yeah. It's hard to say sorry. It's hard to say I fucked up.
Yeah,
It's super hard. I'm not gonna lie. Shit. I've learned that the hard way, man. But you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Like, I'll be honest, it's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like I said, it's hard at the beginning. Once you get over that hump, it's like, yo, who cares? If somebody judge you for being accountable, for you hold yourself accountable, then like what do we our mindsets are different. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way we're gonna coexist. Right? Because that means that you're not gonna be able to do that yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm good with that. It's okay. Listen, as much as people, it's okay. Hey, the only thing that people, you know what? That's a stand-up person. Like, they took accountability. Cool. Maybe we might fuck up a lot of times and take accountability, even though we fuck up a lot of times. Like,
I mean, but we're going to. I mean, you have.
like,
if you live long enough, you made a good amount of mistakes.
Word.
Hopefully, you took
Maybe
responsibility
repeated
for
one
them and
too.
said sorry. Yeah, but hopefully you said sorry and meant it. And I mean, there is a threshold that like if someone keeps saying sorry,
right.
and keeps doing it again, like
Right.
check them, you
I
know,
ain't
do a
gonna
little
lie,
assessment, assess the situation.
I think we all go. I'm not gonna say, I think I've gone through that a few times.
Yeah, because it differentiates the
I feel like the sorry just loses
Yeah.
value at
Yeah.
that
It do,
point.
it do,
You
for
can't
sure.
you can't
Yeah.
keep saying it now. At this point, you just got to be through action.
Because you're not aware of what it
Yeah.
is, right?
Yeah, that's a good
So all right, all right, so got two questions left. I don't know everything before we get out of here, right? Like, in what ways do you incorporate cognitive and behavior techniques into your therapy practice, particularly for addressing anxiety?
I mean, I think we hit on it before. Is that finding what your triggers are, finding what the goal is, like the ultimate goal, and then taking baby steps toward it. If we're talking about OCD, if your obsession is that you're worried about driving over a bridge and you think that you have an intrusive thought that you're gonna like cut the wheel and like drive off the bridge, right? The technique is, the goal is to get over the bridge and not have the intrusive thought. That might be the ultimate goal, might not be that realistic. We might bring it down to, you can drive over the bridge and have the intrusive thought and nothing happens.
And just keep driving.
Yeah. So in that sense, we would figure out what the trigger was, figure out what the obsession was, figure out what the ultimate fear was. It might be that I'm afraid that I am capable of harming myself and I don't actually want to harm myself, and those thoughts scare me, and that's totally valid. So finding the trigger, finding the obsession or fear, finding out what the compulsion is, so finding out what the anxious behavior is, and then figuring out how are we going to eventually eliminate that from, or decrease that as our coping skill. Because sometimes you might like assess that, the bridge is down, I can't drive over the bridge, right? Like that's, of course you're gonna avoid, but you're not avoiding for the function of because you're scared of the bridge. You're avoiding because you can't go over the bridge.
Right.
So getting to a point that you can actually do things, if you're an avoider, you can actually do things and still do them scared. Allow yourself to have those emotions. Allow yourself to be uncomfortable.
Just live with it, right?
Do it. Yeah. Practice it.
Practice it.
You don't even have to like it. Like, you don't have to love it. You don't have to go and seek it out all the time. But if the bridge thing is your thing, eventually you want to be able to go on a road trip and get over a bridge and not have to take the long way around because you're avoiding bridges.
Right.
Right?
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I have a lot of intrusive thoughts. I think daily sometimes, man. Like, y'all don't get that?
Yeah.
Right? You don't get that? You get that? Like, even daily, right? It's like, it's kind of, I guess it's not weird, but it's like, damn, like, really? Like people just, their brains just run, man. Like,
And especially
these thoughts you be getting, like, whoa.
And especially what we do too, like what y'all do is crazy because I can imagine y'all.
Oh, I be having, I'm on top of the elevator, bro. I'm like
y'all
this.
niggas be wild.
Yeah. I can imagine. Like, that's,
Just by thinking
like,
of
yo,
it, I already
imagine
know.
this shit just cuts me in half.
Yo.
Bro, I be coming up with plans like, yo, if I fall right now, I'm gonna grab on this road or something.
I would do this.
Hanging off that shit.
Nah, well,
I traveling game like,
I'm the same way though, but with me, I'm dealing with machines, so
Oh my
more of my
God.
shit is like mechanical.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
like if I'm cutting a key or something, I'm afraid that like something like my shirt is gonna get attached
And
to
you're gonna
it.
get
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my whole face is gonna.
You had a lot of fucking like Final Destination.
OD,
shit, bro.
and then when I'm upstairs in the mechanical room, you hear the like the motor rooms going in or the ACs going in, and
Yeah.
the fans be quick. That if I walk by, I be like, oh shit,
So if I put my finger in it,
What would happen, right? Like,
It kind of helps you though.
splatter.
But it kind of helps you though, because
it
now that you think about that,
You're
though,
aware,
right?
Now you're
Yeah.
aware.
You know
Like
what?
now
That's
now you
crazy.
put safety first, and you be like, you know what?
Oh,
I'm
sure.
gonna put my keys on right here. Is that I'm gonna put something in my pocket now. Like,
Yeah.
so wow. So can we chuck it down to intrusive thoughts could actually provide you safety?
I think that you can. A lot of people who treat OCD would be like, no, I am trying to be more flexible and less rigid. I think that there's a realistic element to your brain is just assessing for danger, and that's what your brain is supposed to do. So when it becomes obsessive compulsive is when the way you try to avoid the danger is not sustainable and it's actually causing you more problems. But at its core, your brain is assessing for danger exactly the way your brain is supposed to function. So yes, you can walk past that fan and be like, oh my God, imagine that is possible. If you fuck around and find out, it's absolutely possible.
Let me stay away from it.
But you don't have to take the long way in the building to avoid that fan because you're so worried about what if I get tempted to go towards it, because that can be obsessive compulsive. But yeah, I mean, I think it is part of your fight or flight. Anxiety, OCD is kind of housed in your fight or flight part of your brain. So there is an element of, yes, my brain is trying to protect me, but the way that it's protecting me is not sustainable, and it's not always interpreting the information correctly.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Because it's true. Not always. You should be thinking like that to think safety.
Right. Yeah.
Right, pretty
you can
much,
think
right?
like that because it's a possibility. It's absolutely a possibility. But you actually don't have to change your behavior significantly to avoid that feared outcome.
Right. Cool. See, so listen, it's okay to have those thoughts. You know what I mean? Like
They're normal. Brains do weird shit.
We
right,
facts.
they do.
we all,
do weird
we all
shit.
have
it
them.
really does. And saying that too, what's your take on that phrase when people be like, it's you versus you?
I mean, it is you versus you. Sometimes it's you versus your thoughts. That's what it can feel like. Is that it's you are not your worst enemy, but you're like
That can happen.
battling
The
yourself
worst-
for
yeah.
yourself
you're battling
almost.
yourself, yeah.
And they do say the worst challenger is yourself. So.
Yeah.
You're your worst enemy.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much. Yeah,
Yeah.
true.
And that's
like,
what people feel with OCD is that they're fighting their own brains, but their brains are part of them. So like, is it really me? Like it's sticky. So yeah.
Yeah, because I even tried playing chess by myself. That's tough, bro.
How the hell you play?
They're just walking back and forth.
No. Because what you do is because what you do is you play by day. So the first day you play your move.
Yeah.
Right. You look at the board tomorrow. You make the next move.
Nah, how long that takes, bro?
That takes a while.
Wait,
It's a
but
long
I
ass
don't
game.
get-
It's a game of patience.
But I don't
It's like
get it. Like, how
Monopoly.
you playing yourself if you already know the next
But
opponent's
that's the
move?
thing, though. You playing it day by day. By the next day you come in, you gonna forget. Like, oh shit, I didn't even know. Now you're gonna play a different move. Trust me, it's different.
I see people do that, but
Yeah, it's different.
That does
It's
take
different.
patience.
It's a patient
What?
thing.
I'd be
Because
walking back and forth. to that
Yeah,
fucking
Because
table.
now-
I wouldn't
Yeah,
be able to
because-
forget to be like, I made this move yesterday.
But
Let me
yeah,
give it.
but
That's
now,
just me.
but
Like,
you see how you isolated yourself and saying, I made this move yesterday, and saying they made this
but
move
it's gonna be
yesterday.
hard for me to say.
But that's when you got to start taking the patience within
I
yourself
see, I
and be
see.
like, you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't make this move yesterday.
Somebody else did?
They made this move yesterday. Let me make
My
a different
competitor
move.
did.
That's crazy, bro.
It's all about patience.
My
I'm
enemy
rolling.
made this move.
I'm rolling with it. I'm rolling.
Yeah, man. Why not?
I'm rolling.
Try one day.
I used to play chess before.
Chess is the
Honestly,
best, bro.
I don't know how to
Chess
play
is
chess.
hard.
though.
Yeah, I used to play chess.
What? It's like basketball. I mean, riding a bike.
No, come on.
Oh,
That's
really?
words to everything. No, it's not. That's
is
words to
hard.
everything. Yes,
No,
it is,
it's
bro. He's
not.
bugging out, bro. When I was a kid, I knew how to play it. I would not tell you where. I know the horse goes as an L.
Bishop.
The bishop. What up? See, yeah.
Sometimes
it goes as
sometimes-
an L, right?
Sometimes it moves 5 spots. Sometimes you can
You know
move
what I'm
it
saying? I
3
don't
times.
really.
I would have said the same shit. Like, what's that fucking thing?
yeah. I don't really fucking think. Yeah, that one. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know the queen or the king goes straight.
No,
back
the
and-
queen goes up and she
Up
goes
and down.
anywhere. She goes anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I
And then the king only goes up one spot, side to side.
That's
up
what
and
I'm saying.
down.
Like
Yeah.
some pieces could go a certain amount, like say like five steps, whatever, 3
Like
steps.
the
I know the
rook.
little ones could always.
Yeah,
you
the
could
the
move
little
pawns.
ones is the little ones is like one spot.
When you start, you go 2.
Man, listen.
I
Anyway,
watched the whole season of the Queen's Gambit. I ain't learned a fucking I still don't know.
Me too, but I was just
it's a
focused
good
on the
game.
homegirl.
It's a good
that's all.
technique.
Yeah,
game,
yeah.
though. It's a good technique
hell
for sure.
for your
brain,
mind.
yeah, for sure.
I love chess.
So all right. So before we get out of here, right? You got any more questions?
No, we good.
What outgoing support or resources do you recommend for clients outside of therapy sessions to continue their progress?
Yeah, I think going back to like looking for support groups in your community, even if it's like a virtual support group that like no one's in the physical area, whatever is like available for you to access. Definitely looking up support groups for the specific thing you're worrying about or the specific thing that you need support in. Building community too. Going back to like the isolation thing, social anxiety exists. You can respect your social anxiety and your boundaries, but we are meant to be in groups and we are meant to have connection with each other. So reaching out to community, forming a community, and just investing in the people around you that are able to support in you and building a good support network.
Nice. Yeah, there you go, man.
There you go.
Shout out your
718 Counseling is my Instagram handle.
718, you heard?
Hey, you heard?
The last original borough, because every other place is getting gentrified.
Yeah, for real.
That's so true. Mopo, Mo Bro, Soho, Mo Co.
Still out here. So bro is not a thing.
So bro's not a thing.
That.
So bro's not a thing yet.
Fuck
Not yet. I guess.
I don't care how many buildings I see. I'm not calling it so bro.
Me neither.
And
So
even,
bro,
even
that's
if,
crazy.
Like, even with those buildings, who's in those buildings?
Nobody.
Not us.
Nobody. But they got
Not
one of the
us.
coolest gyms in the world. The basketball gyms looks nice in the
Yo, when you go up 2nd Avenue,
Yeah,
that bridge.
yeah,
I ain't gonna hold you. They fly. It's fly. But I'm a person. I don't like to live in. Yeah, like we said, we ain't never calling it that.
No,
You know what I'm saying?
fuck out of here.
Sobo, Sojo, so yeah, man. So listen, with that, Brianna, thank you for showing up. Thank you
Love
for
being
coming.
here.
This is Mental Health Month.
Yes, mental health awareness
Mental
month.
Health Awareness Month. I always get that tangled, right? Look, you know what I'm saying? So it was, like I said, it was only right for us to have somebody here we could touch on all these topics, man. So again, thank you for
Thank you for having
coming and elaborating on all these questions. You already know, peace, bless, love. You already know my slogan, give thanks to that man above.
Live, love, prosper, y'all.
Peace, y'all.